Welcome to modimakes.
Close. Wait, no, hold on. I started way too far ahead. Let me take y'all back. Before I started this channel, in the house arrest days of 2020, I decided my first shot at being an independent artist was to start a clothing line. Now that didn't really go anywhere, and I'm still selling the shirts I made back then to this day. But it's okay, you live and you learn. The irony is that I became a professional painter and then I went back to making clothes, except I can actually move them this time. But that's the whole point of this ding-dang video! I've made cyanotype clothing and I've made custom bleach painted clothing, and I've documented it all on this channel here called modimakes. And now I want to try something new. It's called SolarFast. SolarFast is like a cyanotype in that you apply the liquid to your medium, place a negative transparency on top of it, and then expose it to UV light to transfer over your positive image. The difference is that SolarFast is a dye-based medium that comes in lots of different colors and is made for using on fabric. So I'm here to figure out if this would be a better alternative to cyanotypes for my hand-printed clothing. In order to determine this, I'm going to be doing some very scientific tests with SolarFast to see how it performs and how it works. Sort of feels like astrophysics with solar in the name and everything. Someone call up Cox and Tyson, and Charles Liu can come too. They're going to want to hear about my discoveries. But this is usually a painting channel, and I just wouldn't feel right without making something new for all of y'all. I actually already made one design that you'll all see pop up into the video randomly later, but we'll keep that as a fun surprise. So let's create a brand new shirt design, shall we? Okay. I usually model my shirt designs around old band tees, show posters, and album covers. And for this design, I was aiming for a goofy grunge meets Mad Magazine sort of look. I had this idea of a dog and a tiny Godzilla fighting over a ball as they yanked on their leashes, dragging their owners all across the park. So I roughed in my two main actors with a cyan sketch and then carefully inked over the design in black to give it that signature modimakes line work look. Then these two little so-and-sos needed some humans to thrash about, so I got busy with some extreme pose work to really make it seem like they were struggling to hold on to their beasts. And with all our actors on stage, we'll need to make this visually make sense somehow. I think a good place to start would be with some text. And maybe that guy could use a hat too. I think that really puts this whole thing into context, Okay, maybe we'll actually need some sort of scene or background to put this mess together. Oh yeah, I had mentioned a park at the beginning, so maybe some grass would make sense? And if good old Robert Ross ever taught me anything, it's that you gotta slap at least one mountain up in there somewhere to give it a good sense of depth. Now we're gonna ignore this title text I'm erasing right now because it was all sorts of bad, and pretend like I did this in one shot. You ready? So I all of a sudden decided to title it Domination Deathmatch because I felt like it gave it just the right amount of over the top to work for this design. And with a name like that, you gotta throw in some grungy, grimy stippling shading to give the piece a rough and tumble feel. I think I might have overdone it though, because the elements were just getting lost in the lack of solid values, so I started by fading out the furthest mountains for a better atmospheric effect. And then I basically redid all the main figures to make them stand out a little better from the background. And with that all fixed up, we have a wild and wacky shirt design to start working on some test prints. But before we can start making prints with our design, we have to make our transparent negative. The transparent negative is an inverted version of the design that I made printed on a transparent film. With this negative, I can God. With this negative, what is it? Activating. With this negative. Jesus, criminy friggin' Jim Jams, Batman. With this negative, I can place it over our prepared surface, blocking the UV light we use to expose the image, activating the SolarFast dye, and keep it from hitting the spots we don't want it to hit. Thank God. Oh, God. Now, making our negative is actually quite a simple task, and with the gift of foresight, I can tell you that SolarFast film works great. First, you just gotta grab yourself some sort of a computer-like device that has image editing software. I'll be using Photoshop on my laptop. Once you're in, you just invert your images real quick, and that's pretty much it. You're ready to print. But here's the magic, the SolarFast film. You just have to load this into your printer, making sure you position it so the sticky side of the film gets printed on. And personally, I found I got the best results with premium gloss paper settings for my print because it loads the film with ink, giving you super opaque blacks, which you can check by holding the film up to light and seeing how much passes through the blacks. But it can be hard to tell which side is the right side to print on.
It's the wrong side, huh? Fuck.
You might be able to hear the frustration in my voice, but to be fair, it is pretty hard to tell which side is the sticky one, and you don't really want to waste these films. Luckily, I got 2 good prints out, and I can start testing the SolarFast. We'll start by preparing 3 pieces of paper with dye. I'll mark out the 8.5 by 11 inch printable area with a template so I know what I need to cover. And then we can finally pull out the science. The first thing I noticed is that the SolarFast dye is way more viscous than the cyanotype solutions I'm used to. But all the same, I painted it onto my paper with a paintbrush, as is tradition. Also, unlike cyanotypes, you have to expose SolarFast to UV light right away while the surface is still wet. Luckily, I have a handy dandy UV emitting box on standby for this very reason. And while that print is being exposed, I'll prepare a bath of hot water to rinse the paper out once it's finished. However, to fully rinse out the unexposed dye, there's also SolarFast Wash, which is a detergent specifically made for the dye. I'll add 1 capful to my hot bath and we'll be good to go.
It's looking a little blurry, but let's see how this goes.
They recommend you agitate your print in the wash for 10 minutes before pulling it out and letting it dry completely. It does take a while to rinse, but it should pay dividends with results. Oh wait, maybe not. Well, that was the first try, so let's see if we can do better. Hey guys. Hey. Hi there. So, yesterday was a struggle. Let me explain the problems first. We can take a look at these here prints. They are bad. This one is probably the better print. Look at how blurry it is. And also, as you'll notice, blue. I'm using SolarFast and look, black. That's the whole, one of the couple reasons why I got the stuff and why I'm trying it out, because it has colors. And I want to use this to create more hand-printed merch like my cyanotype t-shirts. Two thoughts on that. First thing is, this, as you can tell by this tear that developed in it, is just some pretty cheap multimedia paper that I pulled out of my sketchbook. I went to my favorite art store in the Seattle area, Artists and Craftsman Supply. They are not paying me to say that, I just really like them. And I got myself some 100% cotton rag paper. SolarFast, it's made to work on fabric. That is the number one thing that is for. Let's give that a shot, because the whole point of this is that eventually, after I finish up getting some good prints on paper and I figure out how to use my materials properly, I have this white hoodie that I want to test this stuff on, because I make the cyanotype t-shirts, but I really want to go into doing hoodies as well as, and also some other things. By the way, you can check out all my hand-printed shirts on my website, modimakes.com. And these sorts of things, once I'm figuring it out, will be coming to that soon too, so keep your peepers peopled for that. So, we all understand each other here, yes? Yes! Okay.
Jeez, man. It's still not working. What's up? Well, still gonna give it that shot.
As you can see, even with the correct materials, there's always still some sort of learning curve with new supplies. But that's why we gotta run these tests, or else I'd be down like 3 bad shirts right now, and I just don't know if my fragile ego could take that. But if we keep trying and keep running these tests, eventually we'll dial in all of our constraints and get ourselves a clean print. Alright, so now we're finally actually getting into the crux of this video, the whole reason why I wanted to do all these tests. I happen to have exactly 2 of the shirts that I've been using for the cyanotype shirts that I want to transfer over, which will give me a perfect test of each of the new designs. So, let's print these shirts and then get to that final hoodie. We're gonna tackle these t-shirts in much the same way as all the other prints with a couple twists. First, we gotta put some sort of separator inside the shirt to stretch it out and stop the dye from soaking through to the back. And second is that we need to apply a lot more material to the thicker fabric of the shirt than we did for the rag paper in order to fully saturate the surface. After that, we'll proceed as normal, but keep in mind that with more material, you also need a longer exposure time to properly set the dye. Now normally you just want to throw this right into the washing machine with some SolarFast wash, but I don't have one handy. So I'm just gonna thoroughly wash it by hand, just like the pioneers would.
Is it overexposed? Is it underexposed? I'm unsure. Very blurry. I'm not sure what to do here. Quite blurry. I'm gonna guess that I underexposed it because of how much more solution this absorbs than the paper that I was using. And maybe I just need to go for like 10 minutes. I'm just worried because I'm also noticing I'm losing some of my highlights and stuff. I don't know. Well, I got one more test before I get to the hoodie, so we shall see. Definitely looking better. We're gonna have to pray on this one because this is the last test I get before I go straight to the hoodie. But the benefit with the hoodie is that it's white, so the contrast will be even higher on the hoodie. Hopefully between that 6.5 minute test and this 10-minute test, I'll be able to glean enough information to know how to expose that one for the proper amount of time. But that is much better. Basically what I'm getting from this is about 5.5 minutes for paper, but because cloth absorbs more of the solution, you gotta go for that longer exposure, that 10-minute exposure, maybe even more for the hoodie because it'll be thicker and absorb even more of the solution, which I'm gonna say is a bit of a downside to the SolarFast compared to cyanotype stuff because I have to use a ton of this stuff for each article of clothing, which is a little bit of a problem for a business like mine, but those results, I mean, those results are pretty good.
With all of our government grant-funded scientific tests spent, it's time to go for the final product and see just how well we can print on this hoodie. Now this hoodie is a 50-50 cotton polyester blend, so the sad truth is even with all of my tests, I really don't know how well this will work. Sometimes you just gotta suck it up and send it to really figure out if you want to work with new art supplies.
Thinking probably not a long enough exposure for how thick this was. Dang. I mean, it's good, but it's a little light. Contrast is a little low. Still couldn't get any of this to turn black. Rather frustrated.
Alright, after all of this, it's time to answer the ultimate question. Is SolarFast dye gonna work as a replacement for cyanotype prints on my hand-printed clothing? No, not at all. It's just not going to work. There are a number of problems here when you start to think about trying to print in any sort of quantity. There was the problem I brought up earlier of just how much material you need to use in order to print any one article of clothing. I truly think I might get 10 prints out of one bottle of SolarFast dye, which may actually be 1/10 of the distance I can get with my cyanotype prints. It's also super impractical for printing in batches. With cyanotypes, I can just apply the solution to a number of shirts back to back, let them all dry completely, and then print them back to back. With SolarFast, I have to expose them while they're wet and then pretty much immediately wash them right after I expose them, so I basically have to create each shirt individually one at a time. I will say, however, that the SolarFast film is amazing, and I will be using it to create all of my negative transparencies from now on. And I can see myself using SolarFast to make special edition color printed clothing, but it wouldn't be the standard by any means. And maybe some multicolor SolarFast prints on rag paper, but that would require a whole nother video of tests, and you guys can let me know if you would want to see that down in the comments below. Oh, and hey guys, I know I quickly mentioned it earlier in the video, but I got my website set up as a shop. So if you want to pick up prints of the paintings that I make here on this channel that I actually print myself on that printer you saw earlier in the video, or get yourself some of my hand printed clothing with these two new designs coming soon to the store, then check it out. It's modimakes.com, and there's also a link in the description. It's the best way to support me as an artist directly and keep me working and making these videos for all of y'all, so I truly can't thank you enough. And if you want to help this channel grow and share my art with more people, then do all of the YouTube things. Subscribe, like the video, and comment down below, just saying hi, or if you have any suggestions about anything. And with all that out of the way, and without further ado, I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace! That didn't line up very well. We're gonna keep it.
Thanks for watching.